there's two things that I always say when it comes to injuries. And this is true, and all fans can agree on this, that when you get a player that gets injured close to the playoffs, that's especially concerning. I can't stand that. Or somebody that gets injured, in preseason or in training camp. You never have those years where there's some guy that's like not going to make your team and then he like injures an actual important player and you want the guy extricated from society. Do you remember when Cedric Paré need Patrick Laine? And I mean, rightfully so, Habs fans were absolutely livid. This is the same thing, right? We have McDavid and Draisaitl with injury scares. Very, very concerning, but an update that's generally, I think, pretty good. But when it comes to the Edmonton Oilers, I have picked them to be Stanley Cup contenders this season without a doubt. I think that I haven't loved their play of late. I mean, they crushed, I think, the Kraken. But, I mean, then they lost to the Winnipeg Jets. But I have generally really liked them. I don't think that they've made moves that I wanted them to make at the deadline. Like, I personally wanted them to get a goalie, but whatever. But it is what it is. I still think that they are absolutely Stanley Cup contenders, if not one of the favorites, depending on how they go into the season. So the article that we are covering today goes as is. Oilers get positive injury update. No injury is positive, but considering the time of year, the way the Oilers have been playing, it might be a good time for McDavid and Draisaitl to have a short break. No specific details have been released on the actual injuries. I kind of find that a little bit weird to the two stars. But when asked about McDavid's timeline, head coach Kris Knoblauch said that he is day-to-day, maybe a week. And the same for Draisaitl. So that's actually kind of interesting. Honestly, here's the thing. The Oilers are probably going to make the playoffs, obviously. I just think they're too good to miss the playoffs or something, unless something goes drastically wrong. So this actually might not be a bad thing. Let's remember that last year the Oilers had a really, really, really long playoff run. And I think that a lot of people completely discount how that affects a player. We see it all the time. The Stanley Cup hangover is a real thing now. I mean, they didn't actually win the cup, but they went all the way and battled up until Game 7. So I personally think that taking a bit of a rest here, a week rest, coming into the playoffs actually can be a blessing in disguise. Now, having Draisaitl and McDavid out of both your lineup at the exact same time, now that is not going to be good. So the question then becomes is how good of a team are the Edmonton Oilers when they don't have both of their top stars? I would say like a 500 team at most, right? So they're right now they're just going to have to tread water. Now the good thing about the National Hockey League, at least for the Oilers right now, I don't think it's a good thing, but the point system is set up so in such a way that it's really hard to catch up on teams, if you understand what I mean. So I think the Oilers will be good in that regard. The article continues. Both players won't resume until they are at full health. Excellent. I can't stand it when teams rush players back. Unless it's like a huge playoff game, just keep them out. And having a week-to-week break is probably what they're looking for, right? I mean, at the end of the day, you need to get these guys ready for the playoffs. Both Zach Hyman and Matthias Ekholm are dealing with nagging injuries, but it hasn't held them out of the lineup. Honestly, if I was the Oilers, I would actually be completely fine with holding those guys out of the lineup too. You know what I mean? Like, Zach Hyman is a really, really, really important player for them, and I think he's the type of player that is able to step up in the playoffs, unless he's playing for the Leafs, of course. But it is what it is. Stuart Skinner, who left last game due to a concussion protocol after a collision, is okay and won't miss any time. Obviously, that's not necessarily nearly as important of a player, if you know what I mean. Now, today the Edmonton Oilers are squaring off against the Seattle Kraken at Rogers Place. So, I mean, I can't imagine that they're going to lose to that team. I mean, they would have big issues if they are going to lose to that team. But honestly, the Oilers have been okay lately. I mean, I don't really think that they've been that bad. I think I actually misspoke earlier. They actually did not beat the Kraken. They beat the Utah Hockey Club, quote-unquote, 7-1. They lost to the Jets, but they had a 3-game win streak before they beat the Islanders, they beat the Rangers, and they beat Utah. Beating those teams is not very impressive at all, in my opinion, but it is what it is. Like, right, I think the Oilers are absolutely... they're my pick to probably win the Cup, and maybe that's just my bias because I really want a Canadian team to win the Cup, to be honest with you guys. You know, another thing that I wanted to touch on is just how good Holloway has been for the Blues. He has been really, really, really quite good. I think he's got like 57 points in 70-some-odd games, so that was obviously a mistake getting rid of him. I mean, I understand that the Oilers had cap issues, but I don't know about that. Terry Jones here, but the update from the St. Louis, Holloway scores late, Broberg wins it in OT, no Draisaitl, no McDavid, no Holloway, no Broberg, had no choice but to match, didn't. Again, the article goes on here, the way I look at it is no use looking back at something you can't change. This article says about the Holloway trade or offer sheet or whatever. I understand they were in a bit of a pickle. When it comes to offer sheets, I want to see teams do more of this stuff. I've touched on this for a long time. I really, really want to see teams go all out and take advantage of teams that are in bad positions. I don't care if they do it to the Leafs. Like, whatever, man. I'm a Leaf fan, but at the end of the day, go right ahead. I mean, you know, don't you want your team to make big moves? I kind of find the NHL is like a little bit boring in this regard, but you can drop your comments below if you agree with that. I just think that they're boring and they're just kind of like, you know, wah. It's not much interesting stuff, interesting trades happen in the National Hockey League. Anyways, I am going to leave this video here. If you could like, comment, and subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that, guys, and make sure to have a great day. Goodbye, guys.